I don't remember what I chose at all for focus area two.
Oh.
Like when I was voting, I don't remember what I.
I remember being these, but what do I know?
Well, the good news is. Yeah.
All right, this room is ready.
Cool.
It is a recording. It is.
Yep.
everything is ready.
Transcripting.
Yeah, but like, I do know, like, yeah, improvement Embedding, although my recommendation that I put in, I thought fit over it. I thought it probably fits in this one
No.
about improving embedding, but it was put into the scaffolding and sequencing of tasks.
Yeah, we had some of those issues with the formative, like one of the formative comments that was there was like, change the system. Change the actual like online platform, and I was like, what's that?
Was that?
I
I know. But like with mine, although mine really should have been into the continuum too, if like what I suggested. I was one of those people that freaked everybody out by talking about moving parts of it into induction. But but not under the current structure though.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, well, you can't really do anything.
I understand.
But it was broke.
Yeah. I think. I'm excited because I feel like this one's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I did ask Adam, like, hey. Some of the things are duplicative of what we just talked about in our last group. He said, still put it back down, and I was like, all right, cool, done.
All right.
Done. So how are you doing, Kathy? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. How was yours?
Oh, I broke my arm.
Well,
Other than that, it was great, yeah.
Okay.
Morning of Thanksgiving, that was. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Way to derail dinner.
I know.
I'm right across from you again.
Hey,
Hey,
back together.
I know, this is the format to be.
Yeah, that's it. I'm actually really excited because this one's a lot. I was telling Kathy, I feel like this one's a little more simple than the one we had, which is and had a lot of different.
Right,
This
okay,
is a little
so
simple.
then I'm a little confused, because when we were talking about, can I give you just real quick, really wrap it up, 30 seconds. When we were talking in our last group, I felt good about what we shared, but then when Juliet presented, I was like, wait, didn't we talk about how we wanted, or we were considering digital portfolio that embedded local? Did she say all of that? 'Cause I did not hear portfolio digital,
She didn't get into like the actual specifics of like what it would be, but she talked about local.
right,
And she talked about staff giving feedback to candidates before they submit.
okay,
So she didn't use the word portfolio or anything along those lines, because that's not under formative, that's under either one of the other focus areas, like formative would be about the feedback that you actually provide. Does that make sense?
okay.
Whereas like the structure of it is something that might come up will come up in a different.
Okay, all right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I see. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's definitely something, I actually kind of wonder, is that something for today? Because like, look at the system alignment and collaboration,
Like, what D are you looking
focus area
Focus
2.
area, yeah, 2, so on page,
Yeah, it's-
5, 4, 6.
yeah, 5A6.
5A, thank you.
Okay, I'm at 585, 586.
6.
I don't know if this is, when I think about system alignment, it's not the exact thing either. Like, that's it's a substantive change to the actual TPA assessment is what she's talking, like.
Oh, is that what she's talking about when she says system?
She's talking about like a portfolio method instead of you see what I'm saying?
See, when I see system alignment,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
aligning
see-
things across
Yeah, I don't-
organizations.
yeah, exactly, I see something different.
But what are the big ideas? You see what I'm saying? Like, formative was section 1. What are the big focus areas? Do you remember what they are?
Wait, is it just, are we start, wait, it's the
We're
4.
recording, yeah.
Okay. Hey, Tori, you look cute, but where are you?
Hey, Tori.
You see her beautiful picture. There you are.
Uh,
Oh, now we can't hear her, we heard her before.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
I'm
really,
gonna mess with
volume-
Kat. I think the volume's low.
Yeah, the volume's really low.
Can I touch this or no? Cool.
Volume's.
Yeah, volume's super low.
Okay.
Oh, it's through here instead of through the.
Any better?
You know why? Because the sound was off right here. Hold on. Ooh.
Just through the computer instead of through the room.
Okay, how about now?
Can you hear me better now?
Still on the computer.
Hello.
I'm talking pretty loudly. Do you need me to shout?
No, you're okay. They're gonna change it so the audio input is through the room instead of the computer, which is in the corner of the room.
Yeah.
It is.
Got
huh?
it.
Hold on, let me see. It's really.
Hi, Ju. I just wanted to let you know that online I can hear Tori just fine.
Oh, okay. Hello, hello. Tori, can you try to talk again to see if we can hear you loudly?
Yeah, can you hear me any better?
You know what? The room, it doesn't sound like the sound is picking up from there. That's why you guys hardly can hear her. Huh?
Yeah.
Let's move this closer to you guys.
Watch out,
Yeah.
because it's under the wheel there.
Yeah. Is it locked?
Yeah, it says student speakers.
It is through the.
That's as far
Any
as.
better?
It's microphone array. This one, let's try this one. Hold on. Try it again. Hello, hello.
Like a bad commercial. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, can you hear me any better?
No.
This is flexibility to improve embedding.
What are we doing?
It's this one, I think.
I don't know. We're trying to get her audio through the room instead of virtually.
Okay, try it again.
Yep, can you hear me any better?
Woo!
Yay!
Yeah.
I went over there like I can do anything.
You just did.
No,
You did. I saw you
Jewish.
do magic.
I did. Is technical expert.
Off the top of your head, do you know what the 5 different areas off the top, like what were the 5 different focus areas?
Oh.
Like not different groups today, but like each day we're looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are the?
Modifications to the assessment,
Okay,
right? 2 is embedding,
yeah,
right? To reduce duplication. Strengthen accreditation is 3.
Right.
And then 4 and 5 are local scoring and questions to add to candidate surveys.
okay. So if there's something that was being suggested, like a modification to the assessment, like what came up yesterday, like the long paragraph that was like looking at changing the actual assessment. Does that belong in modification to the assessment? Does that belong in?
Just if you're having trouble, if there's something that feels like it's not
Yeah,
integratable,
Yeah.
or it's out of place,
Yeah.
or doesn't and then you can hold it separate and we can have a bucket of to be integrated.
Cool.
And that's all good.
thank you. We're just trying to figure out how to bucket something, so. Yeah.
Somebody.
That's what I was saying. I feel
Uh,
like Tori's up there.
Corey's there and I was twice on the thing.
But I thought,
I thought added on, but isn't there 4?
Yeah,
That would be number
There was
5.
4 and you'd be 5.
Okay. Yeah.
Hello? No,
No,
you.
okay.
You know, we just thought we willed it into place and it just didn't work.
Right, or maybe they decided to go somewhere else.
So
Okay, anyway.
I think we start just because time is of the essence.
Do it.
I started going through and underlining it. Maybe we take a few minutes where everyone can go through, underline what they see as repetitive themes. Yeah, I did that already.
I started.
Someone share it with me. I'm having a hard time locating what we're looking at.
Tori, I'm not sure if you. So RDI TPA handout 5A.
Okay.
Are you able, do you know what I mean when I say that?
I do. I need to try and find that. I don't have it easily accessible. Let me see if I can find that.
And we're on page 5.
Okay.
I can see if I can join the Zoom too. Because I do think looking at things is always a good thing. You know what I mean? Like being able to see. Oh, there he is. Okay.
Apologies.
No, you're good, man.
Okay. I'll talk in just a moment. I'll let you, everyone. This.
So we're just looking over, seeing if we see repetitive themes, annotating, synthesizing, whatever.
Fantastic.
Okay, Ben, this is where I'm at. Only because you were in my group.
Yep.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I'm like, am I understanding this correctly? Is this too simple for me?
I mean, that hits on literally every single thing.
Okay, good, because I started writing the word and I was like,
Yes, here.
I was gonna share my screen and be that person, and then I realized with this, I'm not gonna be able to really type very well.
Oh.
And I was like, that's probably not why. I mean, it's okay. I'm still gonna try and join the Zoom and see what we can do, but. Tori, did you find it? Cool.
I feel like with our reality shows. Everyone's looking at you and judging. Rebecca, would it be easier if Tori shared her screen?
Tori, would you be comfortable taking notes?
No problem.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm like looking at the one-armed man over here.
Like, I can't type.
And then
I'm like-
us don't have anything, so
And I'm like,
we can't help you and you've got one arm.
I'm over here with my leaky pen.
Do you have ability to share screen or no?
I'm sorry, what?
You have ability to share screen if you wanted to?
Yeah, I
or-
do. I'm just pulling up a doc here and then I'll, yep, and then I can share it.
And then, did you have a chance? Was that enough time for you, Tori? I can't see what you're doing.
Yeah, I am, yes, I've reviewed it and I'm pulling up a doc for us to look at. Can we
You're
just,
the best because you're multitasking in so many different ways and we keep interrupting. Thank you.
so many different ways. We're good. Okay.
So let's talk, like,
Yes.
what do we see stand out? I saw a few themes.
I did too. I grouped them into like flexibility in
Yep.
artifacts,
Yep.
embedded task and field work,
Mhm.
allow for program specific alignment, strengths, etc.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of went through and, put where each one of those, what I saw each one of those things. So those were the main things that stood out to me.
Sorry, Kathy, can you say those again? Flexibility and
Oh, sure.
artifact.
No problem. And this is just the way I categorize them. I'm sure
Yeah.
people have better wording than me, maybe. But
Mhm.
I saw flexibility in artifacts.
Mhm.
I saw embedded tasks in field work.
Mhm.
And I saw allowing for program-specific alignments, and then in parentheses, strengths of programs or methodologies.
What are programs and methodologies?
Allow for program-specific alignment,
Yeah,
and in parentheses, strengths and
Got it.
methodologies.
great. Are you all able to see my screen?
Yes.
And what, I would also like to add to that, I would also like to add context in that parenthetical. part.
Yep.
Because I think that's kind of what we're getting into in terms of it being flexible and being accessible, and also, that kind of connects to the whole local scoring impetus. So, yeah.
I would also add with program-specific alignments, I would probably add local scoring once again. I know
Yeah.
that's repetitive from what we just said.
Right.
It needs to be there.
But when I asked
But I think
Adam, he
that's-
said, say it again, so let's say it again.
Say it again then.
Well, under flexibility in artifacts, can you also put in parentheses multiple modalities,
Yep.
UDL?
Yep.
Because again, those are terms that keep coming up, and I
Yeah.
think we need to embed it so that it shows its significance.
Yeah, I had multiple modalities as well, so that makes sense.
When I looked over it, and I'm just gonna refer, if it's okay, I'll refer to the items by the score number, so we know what we're talking about. Okay, so 0.9 to me actually looked like that is the recommendation. Like that seemed to be like almost the umbrella under which all these other ones came under. Like I had started, because by the time I got back to that one, I was like, oh, given the wide range of preparation programs, school sites and teaching units, it's essential that flexibility and choice TPA or choice within the TPA, which you were just saying about flexibility, and everybody's talking about flexibility. So that one sounded almost like that was the recommendation, and almost the other ones then we grouped, because I grouped 0.7 with 1.1, and I grouped 1.05 with negative 0.3, I guess we would recommend that as. So it's almost like that's the umbrella, like we recommend this, and then.
Right.
here's the
My
thing,
question
yeah.
for you, Josh, is how is this different from what's currently happening? Because the flexibility and choice of TPA, there is a choice of TPA right now.
Yeah.
So the choice of TPA, what do you mean by choice of TPA?
Like,
Like,
I guess
Ed
maybe I'm,
TPA,
yeah.
but the candidate specifically wouldn't have that choice unless they chose a program
Based upon that.
based upon that.
So
And I
you're
don't know
saying
if they-
let the candidate choose now. Let
Yeah.
The candidate choose the program.
So,
Okay.
oh,
I-
yeah.
I need to say though that like sorry.
Yes, yeah.
letting the candidate choose the model would be really problematic for programs.
It would be, I agree.
Yep.
That, because even think of it in terms of like Fresno State, if they went there and they're like, oh, well, I don't want the FAST, I want the
Right,
TPA. Yeah.
exactly.
So I don't necessarily know that they should have a choice within, but the redesign of the TPA should be, that stuff should be included within Ed TPA's redesign or Cal TPA's redesign or FAST's redesign.
When I saw choice of TPA there, I was thinking more of, and then of course within the TPA, I was thinking about the concept and the ideas of having, kind of like a hybrid of the way we do the secondary passing standard, meaning candidates could be measured in, that kind of goes with the modalities or whatever too.
Yeah.
Candidates can be measured in a wider variety of ways, whereas maybe a program can talk about the strengths of a particular candidate in a different way than just the TPA, or in addition to.
I think that's
So
how I
I'm
was
not
hearing it
sure
in my
if
head when I
that-
was reading it, much more than just
Broad,
like.
so I don't know if
choosing
that's
that, yeah.
exactly what that meant, but
Mm,
I'm not sure, but I just,
yeah,
when I think of that, I think, when I saw this one, 0.9, I was kind of thinking about that, and then I also saw that in terms of when you embed the task in the field work, it also kind of lends itself to the program assessing as well. But you know what I mean? When I saw that, I was seeing very broadly, and I was thinking that kind of like the hybrid of the secondary passing standard, where you have a combination of the TPA information and information from the program about the candidate.
I was thinking, looking at these, the umbrella really was 1.1.
1.1.
And the reason I was thinking that is that discussed flexibility, multiple measures, multiple modalities. It's really interesting to me, whenever you look at the scoring.
Yeah.
The thing that has more words, meaning the thing that has more specificity, is never on top.
Yeah.
Because the more specific you are, the more some folks from the public or from this group might be like, you know what I mean? But when I look at 1.1, it is encompassing, like if you look at it, it's encompassing with the first sentence, multiple modalities. It's encompassing with the second sentence, the flexibility of setting, and like, hey, we don't have to do this in 5 minutes. We could do this over multiple days, multiple settings. And when you look at the third sentence, it's looking at, or not the third sentence, the third chunk though, to demonstrate competencies while maintaining alignment with standardized rubrics to ensure comparability. That's talking about like locality, in a way. It wants standardized approaches, but it wants, in my mind, for people to own it, you know what I mean, locally.
So if I go back to 0.9 with what you said about 1.1, if I took out choice of TPA, if I just struck that language of there and just went within the TPA, would that then cover the 1.1? Would 1.1 then be subsets of that, or do you still think 1.1 being as a list is still?
When I think of 1.1, the reason I said that is it's saying that let candidates choose what they want to submit for the TPA, meaning, hey, you know what? Here's a lesson plan. No, I'm going to do a video talking about exactly what right, like it's giving them choice on how they submit. Whereas like a choice on which TPA to take, you're still within the confines of each TPA, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. So that's what I was wondering I'm saying if we struck the language of choice of TPA for 0.9 and just went within the TPA, because that would be within the TPA of the.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because then it becomes more broad and then we can have the other ones.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
Okay.
So as you guys were talking, I was just looking at, some of the big sentences and I thought, well, if you took part of 1.1, part of 0.75, part of 0.7, like 1.1, redesign TPA components to allow for generalized approaches that reflect multiple programmatic strengths and instructional methodologies. And then for 0.75, reduce high stakes by integrating TPA tasks into coursework that is scored using the rubrics by faculty teaching the coursework. And then 0.7, maintain the standardized structure of TPAs while embedding flexibility in assessment criteria. And then, of course, 0.9, given the wide range of preparation programs, school sites, and teacher candidate needs, have flexibility.
0.9, 0.7 seems similar.
Yeah, they do to me too. So you could almost just go with the 0.7.
Tori, what do you think? We haven't.
But as you guys were talking, that's just kind of, my little brain just went.
Yeah, no, I think these are correct. I think we have, I don't know if this brainstorming list, I'm just trying to capture what y'all are saying as we go here, but I think that this list is looking good. Yeah.
In my mind, I would think if we can trim it down, like, because right now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. If we can trim it down and half it, that would be like a pretty good step. And I think
we have some overlap here. So like one of our recommendations will be to maximize flexibility. And then the ways that we maximize flexibility is within artifacts and, choices for how candidates are submitting. And then I think like the embedding the tasks in field work can also address this program specific alignment maybe. We have choice, which would also be part of this flexibility. So yeah, I think we can easily condense.
Yeah.
Tori, if you want, the sentence frame is, do you want to try? I can read it to you, dictate it to you if you can type.
Yep.
The RDI-TPA work group recommends that blank. Okay.
Right. Well, also, I don't know, but like I said, Ben and I were in a group before this and I'm not sure if it falls here, but like, I feel like I already have a solution to all this. Like it's the portfolio model for this, because if we had a portfolio model, it would be locally scored. All these would be within that portfolio model. You know what I mean? And it would be formative. So I just wrote the word portfolio right on top.
Well,
one thing I'll share kind of historically as somebody who's been doing this for freaking ever is that it was called, we called it for a long time the TPA portfolio. So this is, I think if we're going to say portfolio, I think we need to be more careful in defining what we mean by that, because this is seen by people as a portfolio.
Okay, well, I guess what I was thinking, or what through all this brainstorming, was that to reduce the duplicating, I can't even say that.
Duplicative.
Sorry, is that right now institutes are mimicking the TPA in their preparation for the TPA. And it's like, rather than duplicating or trying to mimic it, why don't we just make it?
Yeah.
is what I'm saying. So like the TPA itself is the coursework, you know what I mean? So like if I'm in, sorry, Ben, you again, if I'm in Ben's class and Ben's class is on, writing lesson plans and recording a math lesson, like he's doing all the prep work right now to mimic what would be on a TPA. But what I'm saying is, why can't Ben's class and actual work in his class be the TPA? Like, okay, great, professor, you had me write 3 lesson plans that are consecutive, 1, 2, and 3, with building on each other. Can I just submit that?
Yeah, I think that's important. I see what you're saying. I think that's important. I hear in that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I hear in that like something that's getting at the formative nature of it. So
Right.
the first time Ben's professor asks him to write 3 lesson plans, my guess is Ben's lesson plans aren't going to be great, right? So I mean, they might be okay, but like there's room for improvement. So we want this like continuous cycle of improvement.
Right.
That then the TPA is like the reason I want to be careful that like we get feedback from our candidates all the time, like we already did this in another class. And it's like, yes, you did. And you're going to do it again because doing it once doesn't mean that you're done with it, right? Like learning to teach, like we're always learning to continue to get better. So I think we need to figure out how to not make it feel redundant for candidates, but also reflect the fact that teaching is an ongoing learning process.
Corey, what it really came from was we were talking about the formative nature of the TPA, and we talked about how it's like, honestly, this is project-based learning. And in a best practice, like I did, my classroom was project-based learning as a K-12 teacher. And when I was doing that, I would have a project throughout like a course of a unit and provide feedback and make that project better through iterative approaches. And then it would have, and so one of the interesting things on the TPA is it's generally considered for institutions acceptable and unacceptable supports. Unacceptable is providing feedback on the actual TPA, but that's not what I would do as a teacher. As a teacher, when I give a student a project, I'd give continuous feedback to make that project better. They are still performing. They are still required to perform to show they understood it, right? And so that's where the conversation kind of came from is if this really is a project-based learning, which it seems like it is, like assignment or unit, well, in that case, why aren't we giving feedback throughout the process? Why aren't we able to like actually support the candidates in their project and their mastery of the project, of the skills of the project?
So would it be fair to say, I think we've had this conversation in other, I don't know if I've been in any groups with you where we've had this conversation, but I think other groups I've been in have said something along the lines of the TPA needs to include an element of that's actually of candidates implementing the feedback they're receiving. Is
Yes.
that
Yeah.
like that should be a part of it, is like includes an element of candidates.
Yeah, because ideally, when, that part about embedding it into the guided practice is exactly what you're talking about in terms of it really truly being formative, and they get to actually take action and correct what the,
Yes.
based on the feedback
And
that
it's
they're
not
getting.
duplicative
And
at
it's
that
not
point.
duplicative.
It's iterative.
It's
Two
iterative,
different
that's
things.
correct.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
think that is, a really important point, because I do think it does lend itself to feel duplicative. If I'm just doing it again and again, but I'm not able to actually take action on feedback that would help me,
Right.
Right.
Yeah, or you do it again in a different
In a different
context.
context,
Something
exactly.
changed or didn't transition, so now it's wrong again.
Right.
Right. So, yeah.
So
I don't think this is like the way we would want it to pan out, but in the task 4 of the elementary ed TPA, there's a basically candidates have to implement a lesson, they have to collect student work, they have to analyze that student work, and then they have to plan a re-engagement lesson based on that student, based on the data from the student work and their analysis. And this isn't what I'm sorry, let me think about how to phrase this, but I think that's the kind of thing we'd want for candidates to do in this, where they
correct.
teach a lesson, they get feedback from that lesson that they're teaching, and then they have to use that feedback to
Exactly.
plan and implement a new lesson. Is that?
Yes.
Got it.
Okay.
Yep.
That's it.
With feedback and
With
support,
feedback and
so
support.
they can do it on their own.
There you go.
Okay.
And
I'm
again,
listening, but I have to step off camera for just one
sure.
second here.
no worries. That's it though, for sure.
Yeah, and I think those are really the three, from my vantage point, if we were trimming it down to three, like you said, with the first sentence of.
Yeah.
It's really like, hey, the RDI TPA work group recommends that there is flexibility in artifacts, including multiple modalities and UDL for candidates.
Exactly.
RDI TPA work group recommends that embedded tasks and field work in order to reduce high state, right? Like,
Yep.
so
Exactly.
that's two of them, and then the third is what would the third be?
Well, the third one almost kind of goes, if you could actually, when you talk about multiple modalities or embedding task in fieldwork or with the program, you know, like I was specifically saying fieldwork just because it's, you know, TPA, right? But allowing for program specific alignments, strengths, and et cetera, I think, you know, you could almost use that maybe something that talks about as they're embedded, you know, like embedding task in fieldwork or within program coursework, that also allows for programs to align more, you know, for the TPA task and what the candidate is doing to demonstrate proficiency. It allows for the program to align that more with their, you know,
Right.
and assess it
Right.
in line with their particular strengths and weaknesses.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? I probably said that very messy.
No, it makes sense. And I honestly, like, truly, it's almost like there's 2.5 things, not even 3, right?
Yeah.
Because that goes with.
It goes with, to me, you could definitely, if you word it in a certain way, you could, they are assumed within each other. If, because again, that's kind of what we're getting into.
Yeah.
That's what I think anyway.
Please tweak, change, add.
I can't see that far right now, but.
Hey, Tori, so I think we got a couple of draft, or we want to start drafting the RDI TPA work group recommends that sentences.
Okay. So RDI TPA work group, I heard 2 categories. Kathy, I heard you say 2 categories. Could you say them again?
Oh, Lord, did I? Okay, yes, basically, and listen, I don't know if this is this is just the way I thought about it. But I would just say, flexibility, what did I say? Embedding.
That whole part right there, where it says flexibility in artifacts, multiple modalities, just copy and paste that and move that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
How about recommends that the TPA is how about that model sponsors structure. I don't know if it's model sponsors, but the TPA is structured to create maximum flexibility. We can wordsmith here.
And tasks are, you know, we could say like the tasks are embedded within program coursework to allow for maximum flexibility and for programs to assess the tasks in alignment with their program-specific strengths and what was the other word? Strengths and not modalities, it was something else. Context. Context. Methodologies, yes, methodologies and context, I guess.
Okay.
Something like that.
Ability for candidates and programs.
And I like that about the context part because that really does kind of get into the equity issue too. In terms of what candidates have access to when they're completing their TPA. My question though would be, I know we're not supposed to probably go into this deep part, but my question would be, if that happens, some type of a hybrid of, you know, if it's embedded, are we saying that the programs are going to be scoring and assessing these candidates?
Well, we're saying
If so, that kind of brings us back to the problem of the law.
The standardization that needs to happen.
Exactly. So that causes a problem in terms of, again, do we have a set standard, or do we have, and again, programs, some may or may not, I mean, how are they going
We
to
brought that up
assess?
in the equity group too, and a lot of the things that we were in the equity group saying in our recommendations did lend itself much better to local scoring, to having those programs be responsible to score, because they would know best what their students were facing, challenges were facing.
But aren't we
So-
gonna, I mean, the possibility
Yeah.
exists that we get back into the problem where they had to put the law into place in the first place.
Sure.
Right, we had
I
talked
understand,
about that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, that the reason why it became this, like, looking at it historically, that
Mhm.
we had issues with local scoring because it wasn't standardized.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so now, and on top of that, it was the capacity, like,
Mhm.
can you do universities want to do it? Can they
That
do it?
part,
yeah.
Because,
that part.
But-
yeah, because they were
yeah.
talking about how graduate students were doing it, and then they were asking, hiring helpers and then
Yep.
sending it off, and so,
Exactly.
but
But was the original intent of this way back when to then put it into the hands of two major industries, or into the hands of
well,
Pearson, and then saying, and then to have, 38 condition codes or whatever it has been, or
Yeah.
ways that you could,
Yeah.
disqualify someone,
Yeah.
and then it becomes an economy of
It's a
itself.
monetizing.
Yes, exactly. So,
Yeah, no, I don't
So,
know.
yeah.
And then you can't really, like
Yeah.
with the secondary passing standard, which is a hybrid of what we're talking
Yes.
about, honestly. The issue with that is who's gonna do that? Because the CTC doesn't have the staff to
yeah,
do all
well, that's
that,
what we were talking about, like,
yeah.
for every single candidate.
right, so there is that real issue of, like, do universities have the capacity?
Oh, no.
And the scoring, and then the standardizing it. So I had talked about, well, right now they do train scorers, right?
Yeah.
Scorers. Most institutes do have, like, certified scorers on staff, right?
Mhm.
If you know what I mean? Most prudent, I should say, institutes do have scorers on staff that's their side gig. But in having it as a side gig, they understand very well what obviously TPA is looking at to pass. And my suggestion was, well, then if we're gonna advocate for local scoring, then every institute needs to have local scorers that are certified in some way. Okay, and it has to be calibrated, like maybe they have to get recertified every year so that, they go through that whole process so that everyone, as much as possible locally, the scorers have some kind of standard certification or whatever. And I was saying, and it honestly, like financially speaking, or reality speaking, maybe but because in the past we have seen universities or institutes unable to finance this process, that maybe we do allow for flexibility with the universities, or, like you can't score 100%. You can score, maybe we have a limit, like you must score because we want you to be proficient with what you're doing for the candidates. Like maybe you are required to score at least 50% and you can send out the other 50%. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I was thinking something along those lines so that, you know what I mean? Most of it is done locally, but in order to alleviate the burden, the financial burden of it, or not financial and people burden of it.
Yeah, I was about to say the people.
Right, the
burden.
people burden, that at least 50%, up to 50% can be sent out if that's what the university wants to do.
I would say that even at 50%, universities are gonna absolutely push back in terms of, number one, do I have to mandate that my faculty do this?
Mhm.
And how do I decide which faculty have to do it, or you take volunteers, or will there be volunteers, depending? But yeah, and then I guess, how do you distribute 50%, I guess, of what? Like, I mean, the score reports that come in, like, LA County, for example. Pearson gets however many submissions from LA County. So then do they say, okay, how many programs are there in LA County, And then, okay, USC, okay, LMU, okay, Cal State LA, here's your bucket, here's your bucket, here's your bucket, how is that equitably done?
Yeah.
Because some Cal State LA is gonna have a whole lot more teachers than we do.
Yeah.
To assess.
Well, I teach at Cal State LA, So I would understand even now, it would be hard to staff that with the CSU budget, so that would take
Yeah.
probably the magic wand of the governor to be like,
Right,
no, you
exactly.
have
Do
to,
it.
you have to do it.
Right.
But I'm not saying that it can't be done though, but it is.
That's what I'm
would be
saying,
a
but if
challenge.
we're advocating for local sport, that's the reality of what we're saying
Yeah.
is that institutes are gonna have to figure out how to 100% scoring, but I guess I'm just offering a
A way to ease, yeah, a
to
way to
make
ease it, for
Figure out
sure.
something to do.
Yeah.
right, rather than saying 100% Pearson will do it, 100% local scoring, like.
And with the Cal State, yeah, well, but then that goes into the accreditation as well, though.
Yeah, I know.
Because you would have to,
be.
yeah.
Because we also need to make sure institutions are doing it.
Right, there would have to be an
Right.
auditing process.
Well,
Yes, and it would probably have to
That
be
part.
more than one every 7 years or whatever our
Yeah.
accreditation cycle
It's every
is.
7 years, you're right.
Yeah.
No, it would,
so,
you'd almost
yeah.
have to do it annually, almost, every other year or whatever.
Or at least some kind of recalibration or
Every other
something.
year, something
for
like
the-
that.
Yeah,
So does anyone know when we need to be back?
11,
I don't know.
11, he said 11.
10 minutes?
Oh.
Yeah.
So, Tori's second sentence,
That's what I think I heard. Maybe I didn't, maybe I heard wrong, maybe I just made that up, but that's what I thought I heard.
second sentence that follows up the recommendations is this recommendation is necessary because blank. So like after we make a recommendation, we would have a second sentence that says, yeah, this recommendation is necessary because blank. And then the third sentence is going to be implementation of this recommendation is intended to address this by blank. So I'm going to read that one again. Implementation of this recommendation is intended to address this by. I can see it's not your first time writing these because it's autofilling. To address this recommendation by, cool.
Okay, so
Is the by who or the by how?
It's theory of action, connect to action of intended outcome.
it's how.
Yeah, it's how.
It's the how.
So those are, I just wanted those sentence frames on the board so we knew our angles.
You could almost start populating some of these ideas we've had within those at this point.
Yeah,
It's where.
I think we have 3 recommendations as I'm looking through, as y'all are talking, I'm trying to also sort the data. So I
Sorry.
think,
That's great, yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
please keep going.
So I think we have field work embedded. I think we have flexibility for submission, and I think we have local scoring. And I was working on this part as y'all were talking on the local scoring.
Those are the 3 buckets I had marked down on
Yeah.
my page too.
Yeah, so I'll start with local scoring because I was working on that a little, trying to flesh that out a little bit while y'all were talking. But a portion of the TPA will be locally scored, and the TPA model sponsor must provide resources to train and support institutions to score a portion. A portion of the assessment. So I think the one thing I would say to continue with our theme of maximum flexibility, this word portion maybe is intentionally vague. And so portion could be they're scoring 10% of their candidates locally. Portion could also be if who knows how the TPA is going to look in implementation, but I would say portion could also be they're scoring one task of if there's multiple tasks, they're scoring
The lesson plan.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was
Or,
thinking
yeah.
too. I was
So-
thinking the same thing.
Yeah, so I think we could leave portion intentionally vague so that programs can make their decision about what makes sense for their program to score.
Maybe
But I think
put it in parentheses. It could be percentage, could be task or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
In parentheses and maybe in red, or just say, I don't want you to write intentionally vague, but portion can be interpreted in multiple ways.
Yeah, I would just.
E.g.,
yeah.
e.g., a
exactly.
portion of the TPA or a
10%
percentage of
the-
TPA submissions, yeah.
Exactly. Portion of or percentage of.
Yeah. Cool.
And then I think it's also important, the reason for this local scoring, and we can probably address that in this recommendation as necessary but I would like to include, if it's okay with you all, that the work of local scoring actually needs to appear in accreditation somehow so that programs are held accountable for making this meaningful.
Got it.
So I added in accreditation programs will demonstrate how they are using data from local scoring to inform and continuous improvement for
I
the
love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then also, that's the part that allows for program-specific alignment.
Yeah.
That's that other part of that.
This recommendation. I'm gonna hold off on the recommendation as necessary because
That's
we
fine. I
might-
just wanted to get them on the board so we knew where we were going.
yeah, we might be able to just do one for our whole.
Yeah,
So that's,
all three of them. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, no, yeah, definitely. I'm thinking this all one recommendation
yeah.
for
So
sure.
fieldwork embedded, maybe we can address that one in order to create, or I don't like that way that starts, but I can just start with this. The TPA must be embedded in both fieldwork and coursework. I think we need it in both to allow for programs to create program-specific alignment, or how about like address?
Where it says and coursework to allow, can we put to allow for flexibility in programs?
Do we even need to say to allow? Can we just end it with coursework? I'm just wondering, because we're about to elaborate in the next two sections, right?
I guess, well, to enable maybe, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we need to say it out. I can't see the rest of it though. I'm so blind, I cannot see that.
I just don't know. Can we just say the TPA must be embedded in both fieldwork and coursework, period?
Oh, I see what
Do
you're
you see what I'm
saying.
saying? Do we need to go past that point?
I would say, I don't know if I would call it must be, but should be, but but we are making a suggestion. I would just, I would take out the qualifiers,
Well,
of must or whatever.
The reason I say that is because the next sentence is going to say this recommendation is necessary because it allows,
Right.
it enables the program to prepare candidates to address. So we're kind of hitting on the second thing with the rest of the sentence.
And that's why I'm thinking we don't need the qualifiers in that first part.
Yeah, I
We don't
agree.
need the must.
Yeah, right.
We don't need the qualifiers there because we're saying why
Yeah.
in later.
Exactly.
And we have until
So
11.
should or no
Okay.
should?
11:20. I just checked. So,
No should.
Yeah.
I don't think, we don't need any qualifiers there. I don't
So,
think, because we're
just
gonna put that
so
in the
leave that.
because part.
Embed?
Embed.
Embed the TPA in both fieldwork and coursework to enable programs to prepare candidates to address local and contextual. What do we have? Considerations,
Alignment,
factors,
factors, alignment, flexibility, I don't know. I can't see.
and align with. I like alignment, but I don't know that it fits right there. But align with
Align with program, specific modalities or contexts or whatever.
That was
said
throwing
it.
out buzzwords.
Well, she said it before, but I'm just,
Sorry.
she said it, it's just that, I can't see it, so I can't say where to flip the words around, but she has all the words there. I just can't. Because everything was there, the way you said that, Tori, was great.
I don't. So, okay, to enable programs to prepare, would it be easier, Kathy, if I made this bigger? If I do it 200?
Oh, that's a little better. I'm wearing the wrong glasses for this, but.
So embed the TPA.
It's the right.
There's a seat right there for you.
It's better. You see here.
Embed the TPA in both fieldwork and coursework to enable programs to prepare candidates to address local and contextual factors and align with programmatic and community needs, methodologies.
Right, now I feel like it's redundant. Okay, to enable programs to prepare candidates to address local and contextual factors that align with the program, period. Can we just do that?
Methodologies that align with program and community, align with program methodologies. I would take out the community needs because that to me is in the contextual factors.
Great.
Yeah, that makes sense to me now.
Done.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. We might come back to that one, but we'll go on to submission flexibility and then we can come back if we need to.
Now this, okay, so
And this is just multiple measures and not being restrained into like 5-minute segments is how I read this. So I saw two different versions of flexibility, multiple modalities, so it doesn't just have to be a writing assessment. And then secondarily, I saw like flexibility for setting, meaning like you don't have to do these 4 things in a 5-minute videoed, unedited segment. You can kind of do this and show that you're doing it appropriately.
I like that. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Which makes it more authentic if you're able to
It
just.
does.
Right. And it also is aligned with being embedded in the coursework. And,
So
it's in line with
then you're saying that they won't be limited to like a 5-minute video?
I'm not saying that. I'm just reading. I understand right now, Tori, where you're going with the story implications of a faculty watching an hour-and-a-half long video to see the 3 things. Yeah. What I'm saying is the person that wrote about this, it came up a couple of times. It allows candidates to compile evidence over multiple days or settings. It extends the allowable length of recordings to capture the iterative and complex nature of teaching. So I don't know what the answer is, but it might be they can submit multiple clips that show. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't want to get in the weeds too much.
But what you just said to me is part of that next section, because we're still with, if, we're trying to make one thing, right? So I think that what you just said, it goes into whatever that last sentence stem was. Where'd it go? It goes into one of the last sentence.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Do you mean this is recommended because the recommendation would be?
Yes.
I'm good with that.
That part.
I was just trying to make sure I captured the different flexibilities that were mentioned.
That's where that to me,
But you're right, Tori, there's gonna have to be, this is a couple months. Yeah, because there's no way, I have seen 30-page papers turned in for like a 2-page assignment. Yeah. And there's just not that type of, so there would have to be some.
But that's for the next work group.
You may submit up to,
I agree with you.
you may submit up to 4 videos,
Yeah.
5 minutes a length each.
Yeah.
You know how they always
Right.
have those types of.
But the flexibility could be, you know what, you can take a clip. Not that we want people like cherry picking clips from, but like it could be, hey, like we need to see certain skills that you do. So make it
Right.
work.
Well, it is gonna be cherry picked and there's nothing wrong with it because currently right now we are cherry picking.
Yeah, exactly.
Not only are we
Right, you're cherry
cherry-picking,
picking now.
and let's be real, how many we're rehearsing?
And they're cherry picking based upon what they feel are
Right.
arbitrary and unauthentic.
Yeah.
Right. And the reason I think that's the reason they require 3 things in one
Yeah,
clip is they want to see at least a large enough clip where they see what the classroom looks like. You know what I mean?
All right,
So wait, can I ask though? I wonder if that would be less of an issue if it was truly fieldwork embedded.
I
And-
do think it would be
Oh,
less.
yeah,
rigorous.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, we're just talking right now, Tori.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking through like if there's a way we can capture like the embedded nature, like the fieldwork embedded part with this like multiple.
Yeah, we might be able to.
Data
When we
point.
get to I have to see this, read the sentence stems again for me. The RTPA work group suggests or.
Yeah.
Like,
It's highlighted here.
oh, there it
Oh,
is.
cool.
There you go. So, all right, so
This recommendation is necessary because.
right, there we go. There we go.
So I think Kathy's thinking that next sentence, this recommendation is necessary because, is going to end up hitting on some of those points, Tori.
Exactly.
So I think she's saying that with the concept down, when we go over the next 2 points, one is like talking about theory of action, one's talking, we might be able to hit on some of those.
We're gonna be able to hit on all of them, I think.
Okay.
A lot of these things that we're talking about, to me, are the justifications and reasons and the hows of these and the whys of these. I think, at least that's what I hear in our discussion.
Yeah, so -0.3, if you just take out the eliminate the TPA videos, pick that out of there, and it says allow supervising professors to observe lesson for use for the TPA. This allows assessment to be embedded within the fieldworks experience. I mean, if you would eliminate the video part, I mean, that's what the field work
Oh,
embedded
okay.
is,
Okay.
right? So the university supervisor then is
Observe the lessons.
observing those lessons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
And that's part of that local scoring
yes,
justification.
exactly, yeah.
You could do.
I have a suspicion that it got a negative 0.3, not because of the embedded fieldwork experience, but
Yeah,
because of the
eliminate the
animation of the
videos.
video.
The practical part, we don't want to take
Yes,
away the
exactly.
practical. I also, though, one thing I do want to call out, and I don't know if I should, but I will. There are the danger of, so if we took a step back and think about ramifications, right? The danger of things such as things being completely localized, or is that certain institutions
Oh, yeah.
could become,
Oh, yeah.
could bend things and get people into the profession that may not be ready quite yet,
Yeah.
Right.
right?
That part.
The more, and so it's just something to be mindful of, because I do recognize
I do as
that
well.
that could.
Oh, it's definitely gonna be it's gonna be problematic because we wouldn't have that law if it wasn't problematic in the first place.
And so if there's no, so what I mean to say is if there's no
Right.
video recording, if there's no
Right.
artifacts such as that,
There has
And
to
there has to be
Then
some
there's-
objectivity in the scoring process.
there has to be objectivity.
Got to be,
Yeah.
somewhere, somehow.
Like, I don't know that my field coaches would be the one evaluating their TPA because they know the candidate, they've been with the candidate,
Yeah,
they've
right.
been hours and hours of building.
Yeah.
So let's get someone new in there now.
Absolutely, because, like the instructors and fieldwork coordinators, like when I talk to some of our instructors, faculty, every time it's like, she's a great candidate, or he's a really good candidate. I'm like,
Or,
what?
or it's like oh, you should see the growth.
That part.
And that's true.
That part.
The growth is there and maybe
But
there's just a little more.
Are they ready?
Right,
Mhm.
two different things.
And I mean, you could have, I'm just thinking about when I do supervision, right, of student teachers, I could be like, well, I've gotten to know this student over this semester
Yeah.
at least, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that then those video could go to a different university supervisor, somebody else that hasn't had that, and they
Exactly.
would have more objectivity when looking at those.
That's how I would
Yeah.
do it,
Right.
structure at least
Yeah.
in my program.
But that's not, yay for us, that's not our issue right this minute.
It is not.
So we didn't
20
have this,
checked.
I checked, 11:20. Yes.
we didn't have this part in there earlier when we were looking at fieldwork embedded. Is this something we want to, as you're talking about that, and I think we mentioned it, a component of the TPA will assess candidates' implementation of feedback on teaching practice? Yeah?
No, yeah, because feedback's important. That's the whole purpose of all this.
So is that gonna go in the other, this is necessary because, or this will? Okay,
I think that should be a recommendation. I don't think that's why it's necessary. I think that is this is necessary.
The implementation of.
It's something interestingly enough, though, like this is meant to be about embedding. And that is
Exactly.
more about
Exactly.
formative feedback, which was actually the group we were just in literally like 30 minutes ago. But I just don't know if it belongs in this list, but maybe in the other list, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a problem to leave it here because the whole purpose of embedding it is we are embedding feedback.
Yes, you're right.
Right? And I think that because feedback is so important, it's been like a big recycled theme of everything we talked about. I think it needs to stay here because it's feedback. It's embedding feedback.
Okay, cool. I'm good with it. It wasn't in here. It was in the conversation, but
That's fine.
I mean, as long as it ends up there somewhere.
I guess I was just thinking of, like I was saying, that, this whole thing, this particular charge for this thing is about the improving embedding. And to me, the reason you want to improve embedding is because of that feedback. So I would put that in,
The why or the
Yeah,
implementation.
exactly.
Yeah.
something like that.
Cool. Let's start on those why sentences.
Yeah, we need the
right?
whys, because I think we have a lot up here, and I think a lot of this stuff
Can go down. I agree with you.
honestly.
Because I would have said, like, for fieldwork we are recommending, the RDI TPA work group recommends that the TPA is embedded in both fieldwork and coursework, period.
Exactly.
The why is,
Exactly.
this recommendation is because we are enabling programs
Exactly.
to address local,
Exactly,
so
exactly.
we can split.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly correct.
Sorry, can you say where you're at? What are you saying? Vic?
Yeah,
Right after
so
the-
Tori, I'm taking what you wrote after fieldwork embedded with the colon, and I said embed the TPA in both fieldwork and coursework, and I put a period at the end of that.
Mhm.
And then it says this recommendation is because, And then it would just be kind of tweaking, because that is the why behind it, right?
Yeah, move that into the other sentence, other.
And then you would, obviously grammatically, there's. a couple
Right,
changes.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I do think everything is in there for our, our recommendation. We just have to move some of those sentences into the, the portion, the third sentence part or the second, whatever.
Well, as long as all the wording's there, I'm like potato, potato. I'm just kidding.
So does this one read the way we want it to at this point? The first one?
Can we add the frame at the very start
Yeah.
of the embed the TPA? So the RDI TPA work group recommends that.
So I was thinking we could do like one frame for the whole thing.
That's
So
what we're doing. That's exactly what we're doing, Tori. And so we're just moving some of those sentences in that, how you have
Got
them
it.
broken down. We're moving some of those sentences into the other parts of the frame because we do think this is all one recommendation.
got it. And I was, okay.
So, for that first part, we recommend that those would be like the first sentences in each of those bullet points that you have, or each of those things. Feedback, field work embedded and the first thing, and then, yeah, or whatever.
So you want me to just put them all together up here?
Well, I can't, let me come back
Yeah.
up there.
She's coming up to the screen.
I can see what I'm looking at. So.
I was
okay.
gonna say like,
Oh, I see what you did. Oh, okay, this is good, yeah. All right, now this recommendation is necessary because now that's the other, is that the second part of the,
That is the second
is
part.
that the
yeah.
second part?
so I was gonna say like, what I was thinking is we have this like introductory paragraph that gives our recommendation that includes our three kind of categories. And then this overall recommendation is necessary because
Now,
the
see,
TPA needs to be responsive.
okay, so is that that's the second part of the stem? I'm trying to keep it within this. It would help me if the stems were bold printed, but that's all I need. Because this recommendation is necessary because.
The TPA needs to be responsive to candidate needs and local program contexts.
But see, you have that already. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's already down here. That's already here. So
I can't.
Oh.
Can't see
you.
you.
can't see.
I can't see you at all.
But she was pointing.
She was pointing right at it. She was.
You can't see it, Tori. That's your problem. Just
I need multiple modalities, please.
Yeah, right?
So
Let me see if I can articulate this without the videos of the visuals. So, as you have, this recommendation is necessary because the TPA needs to be responsive to candidates' needs and local program context. I'm saying that where we have the bold work in the field work embedded, we have this recommendation enables programs to prepare candidates to address local and contextual factors that align with program methodologies. That's part of that. And also, that the other part of this recommendation is necessary because it includes the other sentence that the requirements for artifacts will allow candidates to collect multiple points of evidence across multiple settings in order to demonstrate the breadth of their teaching, and also includes yeah.
okay, so you're
But
saying
you see what I'm saying though?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just taking those pieces that go with that right sentence stem. So
Got it.
that's what I'm saying.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. You get it?
Yep.
And if you want, and to, again, you need to, I would say you could put this all in one thing. You don't have to put bullets like this. Fieldwork embedded, submission, flexibility, local scoring, because we say that up there in that first paragraph where the RTPI recommends that, and you already have that. Exactly. Perfect. And then this recommendation is necessary because, and then those other sentences from each of those buckets.
Okay,
Get me?
I think so.
And what was the last part? What was the last part of the stem?
It's the
Theory
implement,
of action.
the theory of action where you're connecting it.
Implementation of this recommendation is
Necessary.
intended
Oh, intended to.
to address this.
And you have that part in each of those buckets as well.
Okay,
You get what I'm saying?
yep.
And then just so you know, we need to be ready to present at 11:45,
Okay.
but we can build in any breaks that we might need until then.
Okay. I might use one.
Yeah.
I just took one, so.
Okay. Figure out how to break.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
And I'm sorry, Tori, it probably would have been helpful if somebody else had the computer and could help you with that.
Yeah, it would be, but that's okay. So here's my question. Should I get rid of
Oh,
this?
it's a Google Doc.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hold on.
I don't have
The
my.
one-armed
computer
man
yet,
is
but yeah,
ready.
the one-armed dude,
The
yeah.
one arm.
But, you know,
So should I just get rid of the TPA?
Get rid of anything. I like the way it is.
no, we're not gonna get rid of it. We're just moving it around to
Right, right.
make
Okay.
it obviously the one suggestion or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think the plan is to delete anything.
No, it's
to
not.
move.
It's just moving
Yeah.
it. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
I was trying to be good and like not have my computer with me and like do paper and stuff. I was trying to change my modality.
Sorry, what was the third part of the sentence frame that we're supposed to use?
Implementation.
Can
of-
you,
Oh,
yeah, sorry.
are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Implementation of this recommendation is intended to address this by.
And then
Fill in the blank.
fill in all of our stuff. So yeah, so like some of usually the way that was written that I can see up there, like the third sentences in each one of those buckets you have is generally that.
See, I don't see it that way. So
Well, you know, some of it, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
generalizing, but we do have it in there.
Mhm.
And, you know, but it isn't, you have that for each of those buckets within those buckets already.
Implementation of this recommendation is to address, what is this? Like address
It's supposed to
implementation.
be
This is the recommendation, the description of action is this, right?
this by, and
Yeah.
then this is like the theory, the implementation is in trend. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
'cause,
this
I
is
mean,
the
description
theory
of
of
action,
action,
yeah.
yeah.
You know what, though, in this, I'm not so sure that sentence stem is necessary for everybody's suggestions
I
because,
agree.
you know, I feel like the way that it's written in some cases pretty much already tells that story. Yeah. I don't know if we have to have that.
I think he wants a
He wants us to
standard.
do it. Okay, he
Yeah.
wants a standard. Okay.
Okay. Implementation of this recommendation.
Are you going on?
I'm trying to think of what my password is.
Oh, no.
I was taking a guess.
Mm.
It was
Well,
wrong.
didn't work.
I failed.
I'm so over our world with everything. It's bad enough it's password protected, but now it's like on your phone, you have to verify.
Mhm.
I was trying to use.
Two-factor authentication.
Oh, I'm so over it. Like I didn't have my phone on me, so I was like, okay, let me just log into my email through my computer. And of course, computer's like, okay, authentication on your phone. I'm like, that was the whole point of me going on the computer was because I didn't have my phone on me.
Yeah.
Never mind. Are we overthinking this at this point?
Well, this to me, again, I think you're working too hard, Tori.
Now,
I really think you're working too hard. I think, again,
I can
we,
get my email address.
oh, yeah, you can't do that, huh?
That's why.
Oh, yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
that's why you're trying to log into the CT.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
I might be able to do it that way. Let's do that.
Oh.
I don't want to sign out. Oh, different browser, different browser.
Oh.
Let's do that.
Oh, yeah, you can probably do that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's the story of my life.
Um,
And I love when they tell you. it's
So,
not the right one.
are you still separating them, Tori?
no.
And it's like.
Oh, I see what you're doing. You're
was
copying and pasting and cutting.
Yeah.
So that I would change my.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, yeah, you can't do it through this.
No,
do
you
through
can't.
Microsoft. I'm in Google
All right. Oh, I see. Okay.
Outlook.
I get it.
To me, these two things are the same. This recommendation is necessary and implementation of the recommendation is intended to. Like,
Well, that could almost be that, and that's what I feel about that secondary. That's, or that third one that says this recommendation is to address or something.
yeah, it's the same thing.
And that's why I think that last is a little bit redundant, but go ahead and put it in there, even though it's redundant, put it underneath that last sentence, Tim. Because it is.
They don't know how to stop these loan officers spamming.
Oh, yeah.
I get about 12 phone calls a day minimum.
That's ridiculous.
And I've been put on a no call list. I declined.
I did the same thing.
I press 9, whatever they want me to say, get me off this. And
It's still there.
oh, it's there like morning, noon and night, like starting at 7 o'clock till like 10 o'clock at night. It's horrible. I don't know how to stop it though.
Did you recently pull out a loan
No.
or buy a house or something?
No. But I think they're all being very aggressive because interest rate is going down. So they want you to fill out that equity or the second loan or whatever it is.
Well, it's because it's all the different passwords. So now I'm getting like a keychain authentication for this password to open that.
Oh, I thought you were helping Tori. I was
I
like,
was trying to.
Even though he's in
This is like such a long
passwords.
process just to get on.
Chains
I'm
and-
sure you and I.
Yeah.
Now I'm on Authenticator. Okay, let's do that.
That was like me last time when I was like, I can't get into the CTC.
Oh, we're working on this. I'm gonna go use.
Like, you're ready, fine.
Yeah, my break.
We having lunch? Are we
I
having?
think right after we do our presentation. So my guess is around noon.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, I'm starting to get hungry, but
yeah. Because we still have to have time for them to do their presentation. After lunch, I guess.
So Tori, I finally made it in. If you want me to help.
Your email address.
Benjamin.odell.
Oh, wait, hold on. I gotta title this thing. Okay.
.odell at ctc.ca.gov.
Too many windows going
all
on.
right.
Okay.
I don't know. Victoria, would you hit share one more time? I'm so sorry.
Give me just 1 second to finish this
Yeah,
up.
finish it. Finish your thought.
Yeah. It's gonna take me too long. Okay, share. Sorry, my computer's heavy breathing. Okay. Benjamin.odell.
At ctc.ca.gov. Add the V. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Thank you. Yay. Another verification.
Jeez. Are you on your phone now? I am.
So why is this recommendation of using candidates using multiple modalities necessary?
It's for equity.
Well, we can do,
To
Kathy.
make the assessment more accessible and equitable.
You want to sit? You want to sit and
Great.
go?
Accessibility and
Yeah.
equitability. Let's see what we got. All right, Kathy, you're back. I'm gonna take my break then.
Am I
I
doing?
didn't wanna.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Didn't want to leave Tori by herself.
So what, and poor Ben, I'm like, while Ben is
Just
trying to
me.
get in, I was trying to be morally supportive.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh my God.
She's going so fast, I don't want to mess her up now. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm so used to using my own
This is not.
computers.
What are you trying to do?
Oh, I was just trying to select and.
Oh, yeah. It's all one click. So if you just,
Oh.
if you push down and
Oh,
drag.
look at you.
Yeah.
Okay. Move that. I'm just gonna do this. And hold it. Oh, you made 3 different recommendations. I thought we were doing one. Okay, never mind. So we have 3 different ones. I don't see we don't have the third thing though.
Well, when we think about, just so you know, Tori, when we're thinking about theory of action, I think it's supposed to relate to like the big buckets, like formative in nature, embedded in the assessment.
Mhm.
Like
Oh,
that's
really?
the theory of
Oh, is
action.
that what it was? I didn't look at it that way when we in our last group. We
I-
didn't look at it like that. Okay.
We don't have to. I think that's what
Oh.
the theory of action's actually. I'm just gonna use this
Let me
real
see.
quick. Yeah.
Because we didn't even look at it like that at all. But let me see.
Where's the thing that he had us fill out?
Right. Okay.
Theory of action, connect action with intended outcome.
Okay,
So
so, but see, when I saw intended outcome, I wasn't even thinking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
those things. I was
That's
thinking
what-
about the intended outcome of our suggestion.
yeah. And when I go to, the only reason I thought that is when I go to like, it was in one of our first meetings. They called it the theory of action, the 5 major themes essentially that we're hitting on.
Gotcha. Okay,
It's okay.
either way,
Yeah,
it's all good.
it doesn't matter.
And then I guess in that case, if it's looking at it like that, then that could be one sentence that covers all 3 of these things
Right.
at the very end.
This will embed,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
and create more equitable. Still seems, I agree though with what Tori said earlier, it seems super repetitive.
So can I get rid of this on each one and we'll just have one at the end?
Sure.
Well, okay, yeah, but make sure you keep it, keep it, so we put it at the,
I'm thinking better, Tori, can you undo maybe? I'm thinking better of it now because if the commission, so keep in mind, this goes to the board and they will give feedback on individual recommendations or strike potentially
yeah,
recommendations.
right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
probably important to keep separate in case if one of these is like a no-go.
Or the other theory, or the other thing that's probably gonna happen is that some of this stuff will overlap with other stuff, and they may,
Yeah, that's true.
so yeah, so leave that there, leave them there, and then on the last, I guess, let me try and, where's my little hootie bub? There I am. Oh my God, that's not where I'm at.
Where is everybody?
Oh, they took their little breaks.
Okay.
So Ben, you were saying that we should take this back to which ones, the intended outcomes, which ones are you talking about?
Like the theory of actions, is that what
Which
you're?
ones? Yeah, which?
Let me show you. I think the theory of
Oh, wait, which
action,
one? Let's see.
mind what they say. Oh, you're good. Come on, man. Where's the title on them?
Wait, hold on.
Let me go back. Like,
I'm gonna tab for meeting 4, right? My title.
theory of actions, you guys know where the theory of action thing was, of our action is listed?
Theory of?
Yeah, the theory of
Yeah.
action, like the theory of action. The reason for our work group.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. I know what you're saying, but I don't know.
Say just basically the word theory of action.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is right now.
This isn't page 1.
Oh,
It's stapled and it starts with
Oh.
focus area 2.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, oh, I must have folded it.
I'm laughing, I'm like, we need universal page numbers down here
I know.
Yeah.
so that we can reference it.
No, it's just gone. The page is gone.
Uh-oh.
Yikes. Well, that stinks.
Well, darn.
Yikes. Oh, well, just put whatever we want.
Well, I know. Because I forgot to put it. I need my
These are just
direction.
public comments.
Mhm.
So like theory of it would have been right after the slide deck on day 1.
Yeah, which I don't.
I have
Get
just,
out our charge?
yeah, our charge. Oh. Focus area,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah, like
Part
these, like thinking about like that.
Okay, I
You see what I'm
gotcha.
saying?
I think I get it now.
That's
All
what
right.
I was saying, it's like
Okay.
those types of things.
These recommendations are necessary because they will.
You just need one pair of glasses that to help you see far and near. Oh, okay. I actually probably need like 4 different sets of glasses.
They keep telling me every time I go that, you'll have to get bifocals soon or whatever, transitional, whatever they're called.
See, these are not this.
So
These
Ben, are
were-
you thinking we're just gonna have this recommendations are necessary sentence at the end?
Yeah, I am. I'm saying that,
Okay.
yeah.
That's what I was talking about at the very beginning.
Well, that's what I was trying to say, though. I was trying to do that for all of the sentence stems. And then you
Yeah,
put
that-
it separate, but that's
That's what
that was my, that's what I thought when we said one recommendation, but you know, you've got 3 recommendations, so and then when separated them
Does it say?
with the second sim, so then I just went ahead and added this third one, cause I can,
Physical
because
or
when
theory.
Danny was saying that, it was all about these. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess. I'm not so sure, but these were the concepts, though.
Yep.
I don't know.
I mean, honestly,
I don't
it's,
know about
I think
that
we're
one, but-
okay. It may not even be that. And I don't think
I don't know if it is. I think it was supposed to be more specific to what we were suggesting.
integration programs will,
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but let me see.
for the TPA using multiple modalities and collect multiple points of evidence for teaching across multiple settings. So what will that do? So like for that second one, this would allow candidates. I mean, what do we think it would do? If they had multiple modalities and multiple settings, this would create
More formative.
It'll
and-
make it,
structure around writing assessment and
Yeah.
more around,
Well, isn't that what we said? More equitable,
yeah.
Yeah.
accessibility and equitable for all candidates. So we already wrote that. Make
Hmm.
it more accessible and equitable for all candidates.
this is
I like
the,
that. Troy, I like what you're doing.
this recommendation is necessary because it's this sentence right here. We
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
took out this recommendation as necessary.
Let's do it, throw that
Yeah.
there.
Put it, yeah.
And then, so does everyone know nose goes? What I mean when I say that?
No.
It wants to connect.
Sorry.
I don't want to present. Anyone want to present
Is
this?
that what you're trying to say?
Nose goes means like you touch your nose and you're not gonna have to do it.
Okay, not me.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Kathy,
I don't,
just reading the thing.
I don't.
I'm gonna actually have to jump off
Oh,
them pretty
sorry.
soon, but
Oh, that's why. It's because the internet, it went out and so it's trying to reconnect.
huh?
Nothing.
I'm laughing
I
at you,
don't
Kathy.
even-
This is my life and I need a Ben next to me. Something weird just happened, tell.
Yeah, so I lost track of what we're trying to do in terms of. Do we have, we're doing 3 separate ones? What are we doing?
Sure. Well, the problem is if you cluster everything together in one, the commission might say, oh, I don't like that. One element of that and then strike the whole thing, right? As
Like the
opposed to,
TPA.
the more you
That's-
separate
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
do you see what I'm saying?
No, I see what you're saying. So then, so this is fine. Oh, so wait a minute. This recommendation is necessary too. Why did they take that out? Why'd you take that out, Tori?
Because somebody else did. I didn't do it. Somebody else took that out.
No. Let me see.
I'm like, we didn't, not us. We didn't touch anything.
I'm looking at the one that I did in my last group, and it's
It works. It's the same thing. You have it at the very bottom,
No, but, okay.
don't you?
yeah, this is the one we did in our last group, and it does have more than one recommendation in here, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Our last group did too. We
Well,
got plenty of, we just put them together.
I am a huge
Yeah.
fan of separating personally, just because I've seen boards who don't like one thing potentially. And I don't want them not liking one thing to ruin all things.
Yeah.
So the more we separate, the more likelihood, like we don't want to overwhelm, but at the same time, we do, yeah. Different points having separate is not a bad thing.
let's just
Like bullet
do,
points.
I vote we get rid of this, move the, this implementation is intended to the very end for everything. So,
Yeah,
That's cool.
That was that's what I was thinking.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine with me.
Yes.
But when I saw the separated stuff, I was like, eh.
Yeah, because they are very similar, right?
And that's what I'm thinking. And yeah, because you can move all of those to the very end. Because then you still have you still have each recommendation separated.
And then Tori, do you or does Kathy want to present this?
I cannot, because I'm probably gonna have to get off.
Okay.
I will try.
Boss, you're just reading them, you know?
I think you're doing great, Kathy, because a lot of this you had.
You're gonna kill it.
I
Yeah,
don't know about that.
that'd be awesome.
But you were helping
But I was all kinds of wrong, apparently.
What do you mean?
I don't see that.
You were wrong on anything.
I thought we were going in one direction, but
Oh.
going in another, and I'm like, oh, no.
So it's just 3 points, right? Candidates have opportunities to submit evidence using multiple modalities.
Well, no, what I mean is like this, we're supposed to present it in that sentence stem. Is what I'm saying.
I see
So
what.
right now, I'm trying to figure out what that is
Got it.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
because
yes.
we're not there yet.
No, I agree.
That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha. So we still got another 6 minutes.
Well,
Because right now, that's what she's doing, is
Yeah.
she's saying these are so that's how she did it on her last doc, when she pulled up her other doc, is she had the like, this is what we're doing, this is how it's gonna impact candidates, and then at the bottom, implementation of this recommendation will do these things.
okay, fine. That's what I thought we were doing.
Yes, yes, it's what you thought we were doing all along.
Now we're doing it.
Now we're doing it. Okay. All right. Yeah. No, I can read.
You killed it, Tori, you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tori.
Yeah, thank you, Tori.
Our last group, it was pretty concise. We were like boom, boom, boom. It was pretty, but we didn't have as many of the little things. We only had like 4 or 5
Wow.
of
My last
those
group, we
things,
had
and they were
bunch.
pretty much the same.
Yeah, I think we had 15.
No, we had quite a bit.
Yeah,
Our
We had
our
the most.
issue,
Yeah.
our issue came with the wordsmithing.
yeah,
It was like, I'm like, oh my Lord.
yeah.
Programs. Sorry. not this
One thing I was wondering when we were all talking about like flexibility and local scoring is if we're standardizing local scoring,
Mhm.
and let's pretend I don't know the answer to this, who's doing the standardization? Is it CTC? Is it Pearson? Is Pearson training? Do you see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I guess it would
It
be.
would still be, they would probably use the structures that exist.
Okay, that's what I was
Because,
wondering.
number one, they don't want to lose that money.
Right, yeah, right.
Right.
But that's what I was trying to figure out, is like,
It would
as an
still-
institution, I can't just network with like the 3 people I know
No.
Yeah.
at 3 other institutions to.
No.
No, the institutions would need to pay Pearson or whoever
For
to
training.
get trained and to get,
And
yes.
it's like 3 required dates.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, it's currently already happening for the most part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, it's just happening there, but now it becomes an institutional problem, right?
Right.
Right.
Well, that and it's happening like unofficially. Like I said, most
Yeah.
institutes
Oh, yeah.
have certified.
we have people.
There are people that are on
Yeah.
faculty that do this on the
Yeah.
side.
But I think now the thing is, if you're
Now it's
doing,
streamlined.
if you're doing localized scoring, those 2 to 3 faculty members that do scoring for your institution aren't good. You're gonna need like,
Well, for
Double,
us,
triple that.
it's not real, and if you're doing it for your institution, Pearson's going to have to make sure that you are assessing candidates that are from your program, right?
Mhm.
So that's a whole nother issue thing.
yeah.
And how fair is that really? I mean, I don't know.
But now
Yes,
you're
Pearson.
contradicting the importance of local scoring.
Well, but what I'm saying
Yeah.
is, no, but what I'm saying is like, yeah. So if I'm only gonna, if USC is only gonna score USC candidates, to me, that's problematic.
Tori, it's that programs,
There's not a real good standardization, and if there's not,
so that programs know the level of their candidates,
Because
understand the
otherwise-
assessment.
No,
So
well,
there's
but
like
that's
different
what we've
reasons.
been disputing this entire time, is because you know your
The
candidates,
candidates,
because you know
yeah,
the context.
exactly.
But again,
And,
we
oh,
run into this,
honestly, it's
that's why
partly
it's like,
ownership
that's why
too.
Pearson will always play a role. They're gonna make sure that
yeah, they're gonna have to do the
it's
training.
standardizing, and then maybe and there has to be an auditing system,
Correct, and maybe they
And-
do that.
right? Or like Tori said, maybe institutes only grade 30%, you get to grade the lesson plan template and the,
Right.
or you know what I mean, and we do
Yeah,
this
and
portion, or.
it actually might be something that, that enables the programs to really say what our strength is, because maybe you feel very strongly about equity and access for all students and for your diversity, when you build your things towards diversity, maybe you want to grade that first portion where your candidates are getting to know the students and describing the student context and so on and so forth, and planning for it. Maybe you want to assess that part for your candidates. I don't know. I'm just throwing out
They're-
ideas.
I like the
I
idea of
don't know.
just having institutes only grade, let's say 50%, but it's a random 50%. You don't get to choose your 50%.
Yeah.
And that you get audited, like, let's just say, if USC is doing grading 50 out of 100 candidates, right? And then someone from the CT says, okay, we're looking at the 50 you graded, we're gonna pull 3 random ones and we're gonna check and calibrate it. You know what I mean? So then that way,
Oh, thank you.
you know how it is, it's like if it's
Yeah.
random, if you're gonna be, and if we notice that you are more generous than other institutes,
And
then
that,
we need to.
Yeah.
and that part,
recalibrate.
that part should happen in the accreditation process.
Right.
That type of thing could, that would,
And it is 11:44.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Tori.
Thanks, Tori, we'll see you in the
Hey,
other
y'all.
room.
Okay.
We're there, but
Are you guys sent to Al?
I'm gonna download and share this with Adam. Is that okay?
Thank you so much.
thank you, Tori.